Hails and welcome to Rauta's Festival Previews. Why I'm doing this early, because the given festival, Hellsinki Metal Fest 2025, is in August 2025. Why this early is because the first bands were already announced a while ago, a few days ago that is, and secondly, well, it just happens to happen during my birthday. Can't really bitch about it because this year it was the similar thing. You know, the whole festival took place during my birthday. So what is the better place and better ways to celebrate one's getting older than during a festival? I can't imagine too many options, so this is as good as it gets. For me, Hellsinki Metal Fest 2024 was a good one. Both days were just like giving me choice of good bands, interesting ones, some new ones, some older ones, but basically, giving interesting bands. The only downside was there was nothing happening in terms of interview. The only one which was kind of a guaranteed to happen was Satyricon, which I had just interviewed like 2 weeks earlier, week earlier at Beyond the Gates. So it was pretty much of a shitty situation, given that I was already promised bands like, Terrorizer with, the Morbid Angel guys and all. But sometimes life sucks and then you move on. Now it's time to take a look what is ahead for year 2025 at Hellsinki Metal Fest. Which bands to look for and which bands to give a go when things are happening. Now, there are only a handful of bands announced so far, so nothing too much to discuss, but already some interesting bands for me personally, and also some bands which I'm not gonna see because I know they are not my kind of thing. First of all, the biggest of them all seems to be Hatebreed, this hardcore classic legend of sorts, which I have never seen. I can't say I'm exactly a fan of the given style, but I'll admit I'm gonna see them live when given the chance because they do have very, very metallic touch, and of course being a legendary name from metallic hardcore style, it's worth giving a go. Can't say they're not that often coming to Finland and all. The second band here is Enslaved, and obviously probably everybody watching the video knows what Enslaved is about. For me, it's not gonna be special. I've seen Enslaved at least, I counted like 6 times already through 30 years. And always a fantastic band. It's one of my, all-time favorites from Norway. So of course I'm gonna watch it once again. But like I said, it's not gonna be special for me in that sense because seen it so many times. Even interviewed them like 3 times, 2 times for Rauta and so forth. But it is what it is, and of course I guess it's an important name for a lot of other people as well. Landmarks is another band I have never heard. I've encountered the name, I've spotted it many times, and what I come to understand is their metalcore style is not necessarily my kind of thing. This was the case with the previous bands in, Hellsinki Metal Fest 2024. Some of those metalcore bands were like face-palmingly bad, and I have very, very few reasons to believe otherwise this time as well. Candlemass, then again, Doom Legend from Sweden is something you probably want to take a look at. For me, I guess it's kind of a mandatory to see at least a few songs, maybe even interview. Hard to say for sure at this time because there will be more bands announced later on, and of course that will be when my final list of bands to be hope to interview will happen. But it's definitely quite high there on the list because I tried to get them from Norway when they were playing there, but couldn't. So there is that. Forbidden, another old-time veteran band doing their stuff, old school thrash metal, something that I'm personally somewhat stoked of. Never seen them. It's not like they are important band to me as such, but you know how it goes. The bands get older and there are less and less chances to see them live, so definitely interesting. Me and That Man is not my cup of tea, but I know it's gonna be interesting for some people because it's the Behemoth main man Nurgle's side project where he goes like outside the borders of extreme metal or metal do altogether. So guess it's gonna be interesting for some people at least, even though it's not my thing. Another curious thing is Kanonfieber from Germany. this kind of a newer end of a German black metal band that has kind of a quite a bit of attraction to it. Can't say I'm too fond of it. First of all, a couple of reasons. Their music is not that great, and secondly, I've kind of gotten a little bit annoyed with the theme going with the band. They have been bitching about other bands playing like, kind of a safe space black metal. So for me, it actually matters. I mean, of course, music first, always. But when a band is not like high in the game of like good music, and when it has the kind of aura of annoyance around it, I'm not gonna deny it annoys me as well. So maybe for me, curiosity, but I'm not stoked. And then I found a little bit weird, kind of a surprise that Marduk has like smaller logo here than like some of these bands over here, because I think Marduk will be a bigger attraction than any of these bands right here. I know some people are waiting Candlemas like crazy, and nobody's mentioning Marduk that much. But that's partially because Marduk is frequent visitor in Finland. I've seen them first time in Finland, 1999, and many times afterwards. So I guess this is something that has to do with that. But if I was to guess, people who have never seen either of the bands or whatever, Marduk is the winner here. Once again, a band that I have already interviewed previously at Steelfest a few years ago, and always doing solid shows, so I'm probably gonna see it anyway. Then we have Warman, a Finnish band I've never seen, but I know them because they're quite big anyway, having quite a bit of a Children of Bodom connection in the band, but their style is more power metal. And I can't say I'm exactly a fan of that style. I mean, they are very skilled, very talented musicians, but not necessarily my thing. And then we have Moonsorrow, which is something that is not even too common in Finland. And their epic style of pagan metal is always fascinating, even if you are not even the biggest fan of a given style. But I think that's something that to keep eyes peeled for. And of course, Alphahanne. I know it's quite of a small time act and kind of a weird because it goes between punk and metal and crust and all with a little bit of a blackened touch. It's actually a very good band. I've seen them live. I've interviewed them. I've heard them since the first album, and I think it's often overlooked band. Their metallic ways to do this kind of a hybrid crossover style is very, very interesting, and they were good on live as well. So definitely one of the names so far quite high up in the list. Then we have this colorful band Party Cannon, which is a kind of a silly name with a silly logo and all that stuff. It always kind of jumps up from the rest, where like otherwise like black and white logos, basically two colors here, black and not black but white and red. And it comes with colors. I think it's mandatory to have them with colors. I'm gonna see them first time ever, so it's gonna be interesting. Then we have Kiwas, which is not really my kind of stuff, but I guess fans of Finnish metal gonna like it. Ghost, which I totally don't like. It's for me kind of giving me allergic reaction. And of course there will be other names later on to be announced. So all in all, given this all-around idea is you get hardcore, you get metalcore, you get kind of a not I wouldn't call enslaved black metal anymore, but back in the days, and they still might have these black metal songs. You have the classic doom, you have thrash, you have music beyond metal, going a little bit folky even. You have classic black metal, of course. You have the epic scale pagan metal, power metal, music blending punk and crushed death metal, industrial vibing stuff and all. So it's quite versatile, quite diverse all in all, given the the lineup so far. For some people, I already noticed. Some people were saying, yeah, there's not a single band on this initial list. Like, I'm not gonna go there because all the bands that are interesting in the list, I've seen them. I mean, I get it. It's okay to be critical about lineup because, and sometimes I think it's actually mandatory because when people are just like take my money, that gives a kind of a weird signal to the promoter, organizer, whatever. But I also get that people are here like getting wild about individual bands, be it Candlemas or Hatebreed or whatever. Personally, this is quite a thin selection so far, but considering that I have the possibility, I'm assuming, do a little bit of interviews there and see some interesting bands color me interested, and I wouldn't see the other way but going to this particular stuff. Now I know some people were thinking of getting me like a celebration party for my birthday taking place on 9th of August, but I'm like, don't. Because as much it is nice to hear that kind of interest from people, I'm like, I'm gonna go there. So don't don't waste your money on me trying to, have a surprise party, because this will be my surprise party anyway. So yeah, let's see how it goes, and of course there will be more announcement later on, and I think that will be the pivotal moment for a lot of people figuring out whether or not to go there. But at least now you know something what's happening in August 2025, my birthday. Oh, just kidding, the festival obviously. So maybe see you there in a few months. Now off you go. Should you have questions or opinion about festival previous years, this is the third time it's happening, or you want to ask something me about these bands or whatever, just let me know and I'll get back to you. Off you go, and see you soon with more previews taking place.